Hi, and welcome to another episode of Paint with Heart. I'm Cindy Harrison, your host and artist here at the Paint with Heart studio. And today, before we get started, I would love to introduce you to my bestie.
Okay. Hi, I'm Melissa Reyes, Ms. Meliz from Southern California, and I'm really happy to join you today for Paint with Heart. The theme this week is Excite. I have my little card here, and it is nice and fall colors there. Don't mind my awful fingernails. Anyway, it is Excite. And it is when you get excited about things, people notice. And, the excitement of the fall, for some reason, I think the change of seasons makes everybody kind of excited. There's holidays coming, there's the colors change, the temperature changes, and we start thinking about our plans for next year. So it's just, even our bodies change with the way we handle ourselves. So it's just, I find that to be a really exciting time. So take some time to notice all these changes, and kind of might make you a little crazy, might make you fall in love, might make you feel a little nuts, just like our theme for today. It's nuts about you, right, Cindy?
That's right. So yes, and it's all about just having fun and being excited about what you're doing. And today I have this tin container that it's about 4 inches by 2 probably, and it's tin. So I like to spray it with a Rust-Oleum primer, a flat primer. It doesn't have to be Rust-Oleum. I just happen to like that product, but a flat primer, so that then your paint will adhere to it easier. If it's accidentally, I sprayed one with gloss, and that is not a good thing. But if you don't have a primer spray, you can mix your paints with the multi-purpose sealer, or do a coat of multi-purpose sealer first and then paint over it. But I find that this adheres, the spray primer adheres to the metal. It has that agent in it that adheres to the metal and makes it easier. It gives tooth for the acrylic paints on top. So the next step after you do that is to put out puddles of golden straw. And on the list, I have both marigold and mustard seed. Marigold and mustard seed. And we're going to go with those colors first. Take out either a flat brush or a moon filbert brush. And I'm going to put out a puddle each of those colors. Now, marigold and mustard seed are really close. So if you don't have either of those, you want to substitute it with true ochre, you can do that too, because true ochre is really close to these colors. The difference between the true ochre and the other 3 colors I picked, or the marigold and mustard seed, for sure, they are brighter, whereas the golden straw and the true ochre are duller colors. There's more white in them, and these have more pure pigment. But you'll see that when it's all said and done, if you just pick 3 or 4 colors of yellow, it'll be fine. I'm going to start with the lightest one first, which is my golden straw, and I'm going to put some of that paint on here against. I am called slip slapping it because it doesn't matter where you put it as long as you put it on there. Then I'll go into marigold, and then I'll wipe off the brush on the paper towel and pick up some mustard seed. Fill in the white areas by tapping the color down. Don't forget to do the edges. So if you need to go back and pick up some of the yellow, And then marigold. Mustard seed.
What color am I using? The true ochre?
You can use a true ochre
The golden
instead of the
straw.
marigold and mustard seed.
I have true ochre and golden straw.
Yeah, I'm going to pick up. You also need, okay, true ochre and golden straw. I'm going to add some of the true ochre here. If you wanted to pick up, have a third color, Melissa, if you wanted to pick up some antique gold, if you had it, that might be a cool color to add. So this is just messy. But it'll be a nice background for our leaves. So if there's any white areas, just touch some paint down on it. When you have it the way you like it, you blow dry. The thicker it is, the longer it'll take to dry. Okay. Now, if you have a line drawing, you would place that on here and you would draw using the graphite, draw your lines on. However, if you don't have a line drawing, I actually made the pattern from using an oak leaf I took out of my front yard. So all I did was I placed it down and I traced around it. And then I moved it and traced around that. And I moved it and I just kept going around and tracing it around and around and around. So you can do that. Take a pencil, a light pencil, and just trace around. Don't go all the way down because then you're going to move it and you're going to trace some more so that it's not overlapping. You erase those lines so it doesn't overlap. If you put this down here, I had this one first, so I didn't go all the way down. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So don't put the acorns on, just trace on the leaves. And I'll leave this out here for inspiration. You'll see how the peaks are long and rounded. They're not like maple leaf, which are shorter and it's a shorter and fatter. This is a long and skinny leaf. So next we're putting on a puddle honey brown and get your flat brush out. I'm going to use a 12 flat. You probably could use the 3/4 inch for the first one, but eventually we're going to use the 12 flat. So whatever you're most comfortable with. If you are comfortable using the 3/4 inch, do that for this color. And then the next one's following, you'll go down to the smaller one. So I'm going to pre-wet an area that you're going to work on. I pick up on the side of my brush, I'll work it out a little bit, but not terribly. And over that pre-wet area, I'm going to slide it up to the peak and slide it back down. Slide it up to the peak and slide it back down. Walk it out. You see that? If I hold it at an angle, maybe you'll see it better. So let's go on to the next area. Somewhere that's not adjacent to it. Slide it up to the peak, slide it back down. Have your mop brush handy, and you can mop out that makeup line if you need to. Go to the next one. Slide it up to the peak, walk it back down. Now, if you're good at side loading and you don't need to pre-wet, you can just take your brush and continue. But the pre-wetting is very helpful if you're not used to side loading. On the side, you do the same thing. Just slide it down and walk it back up. Slide it down and walk it back up. So make sure you follow. If it goes over the edge, hit that edge with that color. The ones that are behind, there's a little peekaboo leaves behind. They're pretty much washed with that color completely. That one there, pretty much washed with that color completely. So that's going to be, you're going to do that around all of these first. And then you're going to dry it. If they're the leaf on, if the two peaks are connected, you can go right around it. You want to go to a new area that isn't still wet, otherwise you need to hit it with a blow dryer. If you feel like you have some white area and you want to put another leaf tip in there, you can go right ahead. Just bring it down, bring it up, and tuck it behind ones you already have. Okay, I'm going to blow dry this. Make sure your piece is dry and then erase all the lines that you didn't cover. And I'm doing it off the table so that two reasons. I don't jiggle the camera, and the second one, because I don't want all those erasure crumbs on my table getting into my paintbrush and paint and stuff like that. And if you sealed it properly, it shouldn't come, the paint shouldn't come off. But if you didn't, there's a possibility with the pressure, the paint might peel off. So if some remain, it's okay because we're going to go over it. I just didn't want all of them to be on there. Next color, burnt sienna. This is where I'm going to size down to my number 12 flat and do the same thing. If you need to pre-wet, pre-wet, and then put the side load on. I'm just going to go right to my side load, keeping this in a smaller section of the leaf. I don't want it as wide as it was when I did the honey brown. So it's just little C strokes up at the tip. And using the smaller brush will help you to make sure you don't go so wide. If you want to deepen some of your petals, you can, or points, you can add a second application of burnt sienna. So now the acorns have a cap and are kind of like, I don't know, oval, not really, but sort of. You pick a spot where you need to place them so they cover up some areas of ugliness where they don't meet. And I'm going to first off, it's like a Hershey Kiss on the top. Their little hats are like Hershey Kisses. And their body, because I traced the wooden figure, they have a little thing on the bottom, but really they don't in real life. So I'm going to base coat the top part with the honey brown and the bottom part with the avocado. And I'm going to do that with a number 4 round. When that's dry, I'm going to have to put a second coat on there.
Well, I hope these are big enough.
Okay. You want me to show me?
I was trying to think. At first, I thought they were too big, and then I thought now they look a little small.
Oh, they're cool.
Look okay?
Yeah. That's fine. Make sure that's dry. And this is a different approach to typically, what it just dawned on me, typically when we do a piece, we add darker values to the parts that are behind the top piece. We add the darker on this piece here to pop this forward. And this piece, we're doing the opposite. We're keeping the brighter color down here and we're tipping the darker color up on top of this. So that's different than what I typically teach or paint even. I'm always putting the darks down here. And that's what makes this a little unique considering that we're putting darker values on top.
That's what threw me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it just dawned on me. I'm like, oh, this is the problem.
That would
Before
work.
before I go on to the acorns, I want to add some detail back here. So I'm taking my fine liner brush and that burnt sienna with a little bit of moisture in it, and figure out where your leaf is growing from, and then draw your vein lines up from that area. So this is going to go right up through there. This one's going to come over here. See how that just kind of makes that. Okay. Now that that's done, I'm going to go on to his little crown, and I'm going to side load it with burnt umber. I'll use my 12 flat, and if you want to pre-wet, pick up on the corner of your brush some of that burnt umber, and we're going to go right across the bottom.
I'm sorry, I have to ask you, the burnt umber is what you used to make those lines?
I
Or the
use burnt sienna. I
Okay.
use burnt sienna to make the lines. I'm using burnt umber to go across the
Edge there.
path.
Okay.
Blow dry that. I'm going to do the same at the peaks. Take a little bit of that burnt umber and just do like a wedge, like a half of a piece of pie, or a quarter, a quarter of a piece of pie. Blow dry that. Now I'm going to take out, so my 6 dome, and so golden straw. You probably already have a puddle of that out, but I'm putting out a new one. I'm going to pick up the golden straw, work it in my brush, and then wipe it off on a dry piece of paper towel, and then go right in the center. Not too hard. I'm on metal and I don't want to take off my paint that I put on there, but I want to lighten that area. So it gives it a little high shine. I'm going to wipe off the paint off my brush. I'm not going to wash it just yet because I'm not done with it. And I don't want it wet. I'm going to next put on burnt umber, little tiny itty bitty C strokes. So I'm gonna put water in my brush. I'm loading a very narrow side load, and I'm gonna start putting these little touches You see how tiny they are? And then build the next row down and up, down and up, down. It's a scoop, scooping color, scooping color. If you go off the side, just wash it off. Try to stay on your scoop. And change the angle according to the sides of the hat. So little rows of scoops, and they're just really, really tiny. You can see them on here too. Right. Oh, I see what I did. Okay, so on this one, I didn't do those little oops, sorry. I didn't do the little C strokes. On this one, I took my number 2 filbert, touched in with some burnt umber, and I touched it down all the way across. So whatever is easier for you to do these little strokes, or take your filbert brush and just touch down a little round of color all over the place. But I like both ways. So, it's whatever you feel comfortable doing.
Just started making the little tappy tappies.
Oh, cute. Yep. Tappy tappy with the rounds down, right?
Yes.
Yep. Awesome. If your green area is dry, I'm going to take out plantation pine and my 12 flat. And this is again like a loose side load because I'm not really working it out on my palette that much. And I'm going to go underneath the cap. So bring that color underneath the cap. Turn, get another load and turn it around. And we're going to do, I'm tipping up because I don't want to not be lazy and just blow dry it so you don't lose it. When you put your brush down here, come across the bottom. But I'm not rotating. I'm staying flat to flat. So I start flat, scoop it down and end flat. Do the same on this side. Start flat with the water edge of the brush almost touching that cap. And same on this side, water edge of the brush touching the cap. Blow dry that. And then with this wasabi green, picking that up on my brush, working it in, wiping most of it off, and coming to the middle of my acorn. I'm making circles and adjusting my pressure as I need to pull the paint off my brush. If you want to go back and forth across the part that we hadn't touched with the darks, that's fine too. So lighten your acorn. Now you can wash your brush out. Now we get to take out our 1/4 inch filbert comb. Like we use the comb for the cat hair. I'm going to use the comb for some details on our acorns. I loaded it with the green and then I fan it out by wiggling it. And I'm going to start drawing some lines up from the bottom of the acorn. Get a little bit more. And I'm going to draw some down from the top. If you lose your highlight, we can go back in. Wash your brush out. It looks real good on these acorns. I'll show you. See the little lines come up from the, it looks real cool. Now we're going to put little faces on them now. If you don't want to put any faces on them, you can leave it like this. I would just connect them, which we'll do after we put the face on. So I'm going to use my fine liner. Or if you want, you could use your #2 filbert. Let's try it with a #2 filbert. Some burnt umber. And I'm going to put in 2 eyes. Yep, that works just fine.
#2 filbert.
Yeah, if you have the #2 filbert. If not, a 4 round probably would do it as well. And I'm going to put in these little.
And the burnt umber?
Burnt umber, yep. I'm going to add a little half circle nose between the eyes. And then a swoopy mouth. Now you can make it a wide swoop or you can make it a narrow swoop, whatever floats your boat. And start from the center of the eye and bring it down, and then do little cheek marks, and I'll show you. The eyes are round on the top, the little nose, and then you can go from the center of this eye to the center of this eye and put little cheek divots, or you can make it more narrow. And then I'm going to dry that to make it a little darker. I would like the bottom of my cap to be a little darker, so I'm actually going to put an outline of darkness underneath my, where the cap and the head meet. Now on the eyes, we want to give it a little highlight. So let's go into the honey brown, if you just a titch, and I'm going to place on the left acorn, I'm going to place a little honey brown in the left, bottom left corner. We're then going to place a touch of the golden straw in the top right of the left guy, and that's more of a dot, less of a stroke, and the upper left of the right girl. I am going to add little eyelashes on the girl. Now I differentiate them because I have a wide smile on the boy and a narrow smile on the girl. I don't know why, that's the way I did it. Eyelashes. I'll pull some eyelashes off the girl by doing that kind of a stroke. And I'll put it so that they're going towards from the highlight of the eye. If they don't show up, you can add a little bit of the, I would go with the honey brown, a little bit of honey brown. Maybe they'll show up a little bit better. Now, I felt that she needed some cheeks, or they needed some cheeks. So I took my smaller dome. I have a number 2 dome. You can do that, or even a 4. Maybe a 4 would be better, 4 dome. And I'm going to pick up some burnt sienna and work that in my brush. Wipe out most of it on a paper towel, and then making sure your mouth lines are dry and your eyes are dry. Put some of that burnt sienna in their cheeks, rosing them up.
When my
Now, if you did them separately, like these guys are removed, I would varnish this whole thing first, and then I would glue these on. I want to connect them because they are nuts about each other. So what I'm going to do is take my liner brush and some burnt umber, and I put curly cues. If you want to make it more of a branch, you can just have them leading into a branch. But I wanted them to be interconnected, so I kind of made, and working at a 90-degree angle is preferable. So you can make a little curly cue there. And then on her, you can bring it right in. Curl them together. If you want one to have a highlight, touch it in with some honey brown so that they're connected. If that doesn't work, touch golden straw. Oops. What?
I'll just strand out a little paint. Oh, so cute. Such a cute design, Cindy.
Thanks.
Such a cute design. So much fun.
So I'm looking at mine saying, I don't see how the eyes show up as much as I'd like to. So if you want to go back and add more burnt umber, or if you wanted to do them in black. Again, I was pretty light on these in the background so the eyes would show up, so we could have made those lighter and they would have shown up better. But it's okay. It's, you know. Oh, on the bottom, what I did with the bottom was I base coat it in a yellow, and I had some yellow fabric. So I prepared the yellow fabric by coating it with the multi-purpose sealer and letting it dry. So you have to hang it up so that when it's drying, it's not drying to whatever you prepared it on top of. I like doing it either on this Teflon padding or a piece of glass. And I put the multi-purpose sealer on both sides, then I hang it to dry so it's not touching anything. When it was done, I cut it to the width I wanted it, I prepared my bottom with paint, and then I put decoupage fabric medium over that and adhered this to it when the cloth was dry. Cut it to fit, let it dry by itself, and it's all dry. So now when I put this on top.
Smart. Adorable too.
So I didn't go all the way up to the edge, which I could have, but I didn't. So if you need to paint that, and it's not sprayed, paint it with, use some paint adhesion medium. I thought what would be nice would be to hit it with some gold. Some metallic luster gold. I know I didn't put it on the list and I wasn't really thinking about it, but you know, after I started playing with it for Create This, I thought, wouldn't it be nice to add some of this? Just to zhuzh it up. I'm all about the zhuzh. Once it's on here, I can't get rid of it, so not that you can see it, but it's there. Yeah. So make sure you erase your graphite lines, sign your work, and then you can either spray it dry or brush on varnish. But I'd make sure that the luster is at least there overnight, because if I go to brush on varnish right now, I could smear the gold. What do you got, Melissa?
Well, this was really fun, Cindy. I enjoyed it. Getting a little wet paint myself, but
oh, isn't that cute?
Oh, thank you. I don't know if I can get it to focus any better, but
that's okay. But yeah, once you get the veins in there and stuff like that, didn't that pop the leaves?
Yes, you could tell that they are leaves, I think, and I added a little bit of gold. I really liked that, and I love doing the faces and the acorns. I think they're adorable. Cool. And, yeah, I had a lot of fun with it, and I learned a lot about painting on the cans. Like, I wish I hadn't have done the top. I'm gonna have to do something to fix that, but I did add a lot of gold to mine, and the fabric was a great idea. I'm gonna try that next time. But I really like mine. Thank you so much. I enjoyed this little project a lot. Very cute.
You're welcome. Let's go check out what Ophelia's done. Oh, look at that.
Very cute.
Very nice. They have so much personality.
They really do. They really show up way better than mine. Well, goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here with you, Cindy. It's always such a pleasure. This was a really fun project. I am nuts about you. I just am so excited to be here, ready for fall. I'm ready, totally ready. I can't wait till next week.
Awesome. And thank you, everyone, for joining us to paint this cute little I'm Nuts About You or Nuts About You project. And thank you for watching on the replays as well. We're still selling the paint box of the month, which I will have on the website, and it'll tell you what's included. And also to pre-sale until the 15th on the Christmas box that will include a box that you can store them in, and I will be developing a pattern for that as well. So that's the 2017 Christmas ornament collection, which starts the first week of November, and we'll be doing, like we did last year, 2 ornaments every week. And if you are present for them, or if you buy the book or buy the kit, you have access to the full exclusive video. If not, then you just have access to 1 ornament a week. So 6 out of the 12, but the kit holds 12, will contain all 12 surfaces this year. So until next time, remember to always paint with heart. Thank you.